right, so we're gonna get right into the basic chain, basically. So
약공,
it's a three-hit
약공.
chain where you can do
야,
light or you can
잠깐만.
do heavy at any time in the chain. So super versatile. You can press buttons and they're gonna do something in your chain.
야,
For your light starter, for your light chain,
겁나
the
빠른데?
light finisher is undodgeable. So you see Astra here trying to dodge.
와, 씨,
Not
겁나
gonna have any
빠르다.
of that. Boom. All right. And then we've got the light combo. So basically, if you land your
뭐야?
first light and you do a second
뭔지를
light
알았어,
in the
저거.
same stance, you're going to get that second light guaranteed.
뭐야?
In
뭔지를
any
한 거야,
stance
저거.
that you did, as long as it's the same stance twice, boom, get your combo,
야,
and
다
then you get your finisher.
쇼.
So you can see
뭐야?
pop light undodgeable. So
탑,
that's one of
탑.
the shortcuts that
슈.
Stefan was talking about
뭐야?
earlier. This way. Next, we've got the heavy chain, which is
헤비.
as the
삼-
name implies,
삼타는
three heavies,
그거네요.
and your third heavy has uninterruptible stance.
슈퍼하머. 3탄은
And
슈퍼하머로.
it has, I wouldn't be surprised if it has like one of the best trajectories in the game. So you want to use this in group
야,
fights.
강공도 조금 빠른데?
Tag like 3 people in the opposite team, get some kills, maybe take some damage and trade, but you'll be pretty damn happy you used it. And then the next video shows off that
동작이
you
거의
can
안
do
보여.
heavy, light, heavy,
강공, 약공.
freeform chain, go nuts, press buttons, it's gonna work.
뭐야?
And you've even got the next video which shows off that you can also zone attack into light and heavy. So the zone attack has 360 trajectory.
잠깐만, 장군하고
super
할인
fast.
모션을
again,
그냥 그대로
you can try
박아놨네?
to option select someone with that, and then turn the tables and get to your finisher.
모션
Get
그대로
the kill.
박아놨어.
And we finish it off with the third option
미친.
for your finishers,
발차고?
which is
와, 씨발.
the kick, which leads into a guaranteed heavy.
어?
It's a specific
탑,
follow
탑.
that
발차고?
can execute. So
어?
you've got the whole package, right? You've got the undodgeable, you've
와,
got the
씨.
quick bump
존나-
that you can't react to, and as the like 1v1 kit, and then you've got the
발차고?
heavy finisher that's an interruptible stance for
야,
group
발차기도
fight
있으면
scenarios,
저거 그거
or
아니에요?
if you want to do a big brain
뭐-
play or
그거
troll your opponent, you can try to feint that.
잉크레디 이비디스 하고
dodge, and that
Yeah.
also works in a 1v1. But mostly you're gonna want to use it
사렘 발차기
in
확정.
group fights, and that takes care of the regular chain. We can
Wow.
move on to the specials. So you've got your Griffin's Shove, which is a back and guard break input. Great opener, basically. For any other
아,
character
그
that has that
로보링어
kind of
그거
opener,
밀치는
it just
거를
works.
가져왔나 보다.
And if you go to the next video, you'll see that it goes directly into your light and then to your finishers. So basically, you land your shove, there you go. You've got your mix-up with the finisher
오.
where you want to be. So it feels great to use.
저 모션 좀
And
좀
next we
멋지다.
have the
모션 좀 멋지네요, 저거.
yeah. So if it whiffs, you
안
have
봐-
a link
갑에 안
still,
잡히죠?
to your second light, second heavy.
갑 안
So if,
잡혀요.
you've got a Jormungandr there, trying
야,
to guard
말고
break you,
뒤지란
you
소리네
can
그냥.
just throw out your heavy and power right
갑
through
안
that guard
잡힌다.
break and continue your chain. So
심지어 약공
it makes
약공이
you
아니고
wanna use that move,
강공에도
basically.
약 아니죠?
All right, moving on to the dodge forward. Sorry, helm cleaver.
와, 미친.
So the helm cleaver.
대시야.
The helm
Official
cleaver.
names. Excellent.
Helm cleaver is
Achoo!
super long range. You can delay it a lot. So you can do your dodge
조용히
forward
하세요.
and you wait for like
그거
600
아니에요?
ms and you can still press light.
대꿀몽 그거 아니야?
and
조용히
do your
하세요.
move. So
대꿀몽.
it's gonna be a great peel, great move to initiate the fight when someone's not expecting it, I guess. And if you go to the next video, you'll see that your dodge forward
어?
light is
저거
a
약공도
shortcut
되네?
directly to your finisher. So, oh my god, I said it again. Sorry. Helm
잠깐만요.
cleaver.
저거 음성은 좀 시내라고 들리는 것
It's all
같은데.
good. It's all
죽어라
good.
하면서
It's all
시내
good, right? They know
이런
what
것
I'm talking
같은데.
about.
Yeah.
Dodge forward light.
all right.
That's what they're gonna talk.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so we're gonna go to the Mind Cleaver next. Mind Cleaver is on a heavy input. It has
미친 저거
ridiculous range. You can be in a group fight, minding your own business, and then you see
추격기도
that
갖고
external
있네.
indicator pop up, and you're like, "What is this? Is this a plane?
추격기도
Is
갖고
this
있어.
Superman?" No, it's Griffin with the mind cleaver. And obviously, if you go, do we have a second view for this one? Yeah, okay, go for it. So you can go light combo, heavy feint, dodge forward,
미친.
do your mind cleaver, get that roll, feel good about yourself, and then you can do your heavy finisher,
아,
which because
그냥
you know all of your dodge attacks
몰아놓으려고
are
만든
linked to your
캐릭터네.
finishers. So super cool.
넌
Next
도망 못
video
가게
is the
그냥
soul cleaver.
그냥 맞아 죽으라는 그네.
So you've got side dodge
횡강-
attacks as well,
횡강공이네.
that are on the heavy inputs as well.
만약 여기서 횡강공 할 때 약공 누르면은 이거 되면 진짜 장군이야.
Boom. Go to the next video. Sick. So boom. Super a lot of dodge frames on it, so it's gonna be super useful to dodge, you know, anything that comes your way. And then you turn the tables again. You've got your finisher because
아니에요,
it's a
저거
shortcut.
횡강이에요.
So
횡강이에요.
kick, light undodgeable, mix up,
발차기
super threatening right off the bat.
Yeah.
So
Right.
maybe,
So we've
maybe if
got
I could
next.
sum up so far, we've
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
sick mix-up, which is kick or undodgeable light. You've got a way to get there from light combo. You've got a way to get there from down X into
야
light. into
미치겠다.
finisher.
이
And now
이놈은
you can
그냥
shortcut there from your dodge attacks.
너 못
Yes.
도망가. 너 나랑 만났으니까 못 도망가고
Is there
나 이길
anything
때까지
else that
그냥
we could do to
쳐맞아.
shortcut to this
나 이길
stuff?
때까지 내가 죽나 너 죽나 이렇게 하려고 하는 애네.
Are you talking about what's coming up next, or did I forget something?
진짜
and I'm
작정을
just-
하고 만들었구만.
Perfectly
응?
segueing to the next one.
Okay, because the next one's not even a shortcut though. But let's keep going. So you've got the dauntless chase,
뭐야?
which is not a shortcut to your finishers, by the way.
뭐야?
Oh
That's
man,
your
I
sprint
misread
attack.
this. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's all
I'm
good.
perfectly
It's all
segueing.
good. It's gonna come. It's
야
gonna
씨발
come
이제
soon.
넘기냐?
The timing wasn't there, but I liked where you were headed, Stefan. We'll keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, I
어.
hate to see it. All right. So, sprint attack.
야 씨 겁나 재밌어 보이네.
It's gonna flip your opponent over, and what's the next one? Oh yeah, okay. So if you go to the next one, yeah, exactly. You're gonna get frame advantage as the opponent gets up. So basically, you have free reign. You can do.
일단은
as
저거
you can see
복합
here, you know,
복합인
a
거
feint guard break,
확정이네요.
a feint guard break
일단
that's
복합은
someone
확정.
against someone that's trying to just roll away, and you're gonna catch him. So basically, if the Griffin lands this, they have to respect whatever.
저는
Griffin's doing
뭔가
next.
그냥
So
끌고 가는
it's
줄
a great way to
알았는데
start the fight, and it does some decent
레이더처럼
damage,
뭔가
right? I think it's
그냥
like 10 damage or
쌀배달하는
something.
걸 줄 알았는데 그냥
yeah.
넘겨버리네. 와.
It's not like nothing. And then we've got the next video, which showcases you know, another situation where you'll be in a group fight, guys not paying attention to you. You've got the Highlander on the side. Oh, he sees the opportunity. Boom, top heavy. There's your
빨리
game
해야 돼.
setup. Obviously the attack is
저게
blockable
걸렸으면
and
이거
variable,
빠르게
so you're gonna have
눈치채가지고
to,
빨리
find
내
the right
찍어야겠네.
opportunity. But when you do, some big damage opportunities there. Next, we move to the next.
어차피 저희들 저
shortcut.
주 컨텐츠는 그거예요.
So let's
which
pretend
is,
that Stefan
정복이니까.
set it up beforehand for this, but now
Yep,
you can get
yep.
into it.
It's
Yeah, just imagine that
just-
we edited for this and we jumped ahead to this point.
근데
and
제가
still
봤을 때
had-
그 횡강공은
editing
캔슬이 안
magic
되는 것
happening
같아.
there for sure. So all right, your guard breaks. You can see the guard break here, leading into the second heavy, into your finishers. So basically,
얘는
whenever
그래도
you land a guard break
좀
with Griffin,
복합이어가지고 그나마 할 수
you
있는
can
게
do your free
많으니까
second heavy
그나마 재밌을
into
것 같아요.
your finisher mix-up.
와,
And if you throw your opponent,
우와.
you
이번
get
신캐가
a
좀
link directly to your finishers. So
그나마
throw someone
재밌게 만든
for
것
a wall
같아요.
splat,
빡치기.
and boom, there you go. You've got your free heavy finisher into reset. So a maximum damage there.
네, 몸값은
Next, we've got the Ironclad
몸값을에서는
Tactician.
사기는 아직까지는
So
멀었어.
that's a little something Griffin cooked up for us, where if he parries an attack, and he
Huh?
does an attack while he's parrying, so in this case a light, he's going to gain uninterruptible
그러니까
stance
저거
on it. So you all know those
패링하고
situations where you're in a
약공하면
group
저게
fight,
그거
you know, this guy's like he's
슈화
got, like,
슈화라는
one
거죠,
health
저거?
left. Like screw this guy, let's just kill him.
슈화?
And then you parry, and you're
굳이
like,
저걸
yeah, finally
슈화를
got the kill, and then you
넣네?
get interrupted by your that other Jormungandr, pesky Jormungandr, who designed this character.
어,
And
이건 예상
you
못했다.
can get the kill if you are Griffin, because you're just going to trade away with the uninterruptible stance, and that feels great. So what else can you do next? You can also do
Oh?
your zone attack. That will be
야,
also
저건 그냥 장군이다.
uninterruptible stance.
숏 이동.
Is that like? Did I
숏 이동.
conjugate that?
You invented it.
Only
Yeah,
thing-
it's
I
perfect.
think it was
Uninterruptible
great.
stance.
I think it was great. It shows creativity. I love it.
Yeah, there you go. And so that's gonna be great for again, getting that kill that you couldn't have had before, and even maybe a second
장군은
one.
슈아가 별로
in a highlight
없죠.
reel for you
근데
to,
얘는 그냥 슈아로
clip that shit and
밀어붙이고
put it on YouTube. It's
가브는
gonna be
그다지
great.
없어요.
And then the last opportunity is obviously
야,
you're heavy,
와, 이 미친.
so you land a light parry in a group fight. Throw that heavy
처형도
out.
그냥 간결하고
Someone tries to
좋다.
interrupt you, he's gonna get tagged, and then you can get another double kill into execution. If someone ever does that,
오,
I
그나마
hope it's
재밌게
gonna be on
만들
Reddit
것 같긴 해요.
so that I can save it and keep it and show it to my kids. It's
패링과
gonna be amazing.
패링하고 모든 거에 다
I
슈가로
think we're up to
붙어버리고.
the feats.
어?
Did you want to add anything, Steph,
스킬 보여주나 보다.
up at this point?
I'm a little scared too because we might go to the wrong video.
잠깐만,
But
짜꼬다라고 하는 거
at least
아니네?
maybe the right video and
짜꼬다.
I'm in the wrong universe. But no, let's rock it. This is there's more fun to come.
All
뭐야?
right,
뭘
there you
쓴
go.
거야?
So we've got feat 1, stern stare.
짜꼬가.
Griffin stares at you.
짜꼬다라고 쓴 것
and,
같은데? 진짜?
Definitely. I mean, that's gonna
어?
that's gonna
공격력
hit you in the
낮췄나?
soul right there for sure. So as we can see,
어?
I'm sure freeze is gonna be on that one. You can see 30 damage coming from the tight heavy, the top heavy, turning into something
뭐야?
else.
뭔지 모르겠어 저거.
I bet there's a calculation there to be done. I think people are gonna figure it out, Steph. I'm not sure. But I think
발차기
it makes
캔슬 안
people
보여주니까 안
attack
되는 것
less,
같다고요?
like their damage
저희가
is
해보고
lessened or
해야죠.
something.
Yeah, it's debuff basically.
Oh, nice.
You
Okay.
can see the value there, but you need like
저거
binoculars
뭐지?
from
저거 뭘 위한
so
스킬이지
I'm sure you
대체?
guys will see it better than we will.
So I mean, it
저건
looks
대체
unassuming,
뭘 위한
but
스킬일까?
honestly, it feels super good. It has a short cooldown, so you can use it often. You want to calm down that guy that has revenge. You want to try to save your ally that's being pummeled by a bad guy. Any situation at all, really. You go into the fight. You want to do
아니에요.
stunts there to kind of
데미지
slow down the fight and,
감소라기보다는 데미지
have some
감소라기보다는
time to
조금
do your other feats that come next. So you've got
뭐지?
Draconite Mist. Kind of forgot to mention, but all of Griffin's feats are
체력 회복.
inspired by all 4 different factions. So
주위의
you had
체력
Stern
회복.
Stare that was inspired by the Samurai. We've got the Draconite Mist. That's a Wulin
주위의
inspired feat.
자신의 주위에 체력을
Basically,
회복해준다.
You use
체력 한 칸.
Draconite to heal your allies and yourself
체력 한
in
칸.
a gigantic cone around you. So again, that's kind of the defining feat for Griffin. Doesn't have too much of a big cooldown. You get it early in the fight, and it's super useful in a lot of situations where you can save your teammates. It feels great. As a support character, there aren't too many in the game, but Griffin definitely has that niche covered.
And you can imagine if there was this 3rd or 4th character, like they would get heals as well
이건 뭐지?
in there.
Yeah, exactly. So the more allies you have around, the more healing you're gonna give.
오,
It doesn't
멀리 있는
scale.
아군한테
It's
체력
the same
회복.
amount for everyone. So we got Draconite Bolt shown up here, which is the Knight-inspired
아니야.
feat.
저거
It's
맞추고
going to
저거
throw
맞추고
a crossbow
아군에게
arrow, and if it
아군에게
hits,
그거
a
체력
bolt,
회복이네.
triggers an AoE
석궁
from
적에게 맞추고
that
회복.
location
이렇게.
that will heal
와.
all of your allies around this spot. So basically, super useful when you're like, damn, am I gonna get there in time to save my friend? He's about to die. Boom, snipe shot. You might even kill
30대.
the guy that you were targeting, and you're gonna save your ally, and you can come into the fight strong. And then we've got
그냥
the ultimate
피스키퍼는
feat
그냥
number 4,
죽으라는 뜻이겠죠.
Draconite Cleanser, where you use a
플레임샷. 뭐야 저거?
boom. Whoa.
미친!
Alright,
이거
oh my
뭐야?
Love these sound effects.
I don't
Extra
know. I
sound
don't know if
effects.
you're gonna hear it. I don't know if you're gonna
Yeah.
hear it. Like,
뭐지? 내가 지금
You will
슈퍼노바를 본
and
건가?
I'll hear you off this, so it's gonna be great.
왜 지금 내가
so, hats off
내가 지금
for,
뭘 보고 보지?
audio design on that one.
던져
Absolutely amazing. So
Boom.
that's the Viking
하고
inspired feat.
체력 회복.
You're gonna have your explosion that comes
미친.
first off this like grenade, which then sets off an AoE of healing for the rest of your teammates that are still alive after this
몰라.
to come heal for a respectable amount. So big disruptive feat
붐.
that does good damage and good healing at the same time. It's like It's like the paladin kind of feel where you're like you're killing people with the light.
The danger healer.
A
근데
mic drop type of
예,
moment that we
임팩트
could see
진짜
with this,
개간지나긴
like,
해요.
if you could end a fight
On
with
the
this.
testing ground event front, and as Clarissa has pointed out, if you play them in the event front, they're going to be these new changes that we're going to talk about today. If you play them in any other normal matchmaking, it's going to be the regular stuff. So think of this as like a vision into the future, basically, a vision that you will help us shape. So thank you for your time.
That was beautifully said. I just had to say it.
Thanks,
I really
thanks.
like that.
I hadn't rehearsed that at all, I swear. And
제발
basically
이거
what we're trying
넣어줘.
to do with these heroes is bring up their viability. We'll kind of break down like on a character by character basis, where are they weak in their kit, what are we trying to fix up with each of them. And in a few cases, such as like some of the Shugoki bits, we'll talk about what parts we think are frustrating and how we're trying to address that.
어떻게 하는 거야 이거? 화면이
Awesome. Well,
여기다가 해야
let's
되는데
get right
이거
into it,
어떻게 바꾸는
JC.
거야 이거?
I guess we'll start off with the Warden.
Yep. So for Warden, we're trying to target.
안 돼,
like, as the
슈거키
previous slide
삭제하면 안
mentioned,
돼.
we're trying to give every hero kind of like 2 roles at least, so that they can actually perform quite much better in like high level tournaments. Because what we've really noticed and what we've been seeing a lot is that heroes that have a single niche generally are not picked because they're not really viable for tournaments. So for Warden, what we're going to be doing is we're trying to focus on his offensive 1v1 and also something we call offensive 1vx, which is basically when you're outnumbered, but using offensive tools to defend yourself instead of being overly defensive. With Warden, you're supposed to be capturing points with your strong offense. You're going to defend points as well with your pretty strong offense. And we're also looking to address a bit of fairness and frustration stuff that we've been seeing over the past few months and years. So just to make
아니
sure everything is a
불프를
bit more
또
fair.
왜 버프를 하라고요?
So with Warden, we're changing 3 modes. We're addressing shoulder bash. We're addressing his heavy
저번에-
attack. So both
저번에
open
제가
finishers.
당했던 거 모르셨어요?
And we're
저번
also
대회 때
touching a little
제가
bit on his zone
콜라님하고
attack.
그거
So let's get
콜라님하고
into it.
그거
Okay.
뭐야
So shoulder
불프하고
bash.
그거
So first of all,
참하고
he can no
하고
longer
진짜
access it from
처발렸던
back
거
dodge.
진짜 안
That's a big
보이세요?
change that's been requested by a lot of players. It reduces
아.
frustration, makes it a lot better to
어떻게
fight
버프
against him.
버프를 왜
So
시켜요
that's good.
그걸?
He always has a little bit of static movement when you feint shoulder bash, so he's always going to move a little bit when you feint to help make sure that you're able to do feint
체력이
break after a lot of the options. that
줄어들면은
you're giving him.
씨발 코
He no
체력으로
longer
그냥
has that little bit of extra
뭐
movement
방패를
when
주고
you feint the
내
fully
체력이
charged version.
줄어들면은
A
그냥
lot of the times what would happen
그냥
is
화염으로
you would
뒤덮여버리고
do a
아
fully charged shoulder
미치겠어
bash, you would
진짜.
feint, and then for just like a tiny little bit in the beginning, he would move forward a bit. That made it a little bit hard sometimes to get punishes off of it, and it was frustrating for some players who felt that well, you know, my opponent was able to like see what I was doing, react,
버전이
and
이제
feint.
너프예요.
So this way, like it's super clear, we don't have any problem with that. And then last but not least, shoulder bash can now be accessed after any of Warden's sword attacks. So we have a bit of video for this.
아니
Uh,
워든을
essentially,
너프할
you can do
거면은
zone attack into shoulder bash now.
뭐?
You can do which is coming up. We
What?
can do okay, yeah. So we can do that's Valiant Breakthrough, so dodge forward heavy into shoulder bash. We can do his
What?
sprint attack, lock shoulder bash. And last but not least, we can do neutral. We have neutral heavy into shoulder bash, and then we have a final thing here, where is also from his heavy finishers, right? So you go heavy into heavy finisher into shoulder bash. We had a little sneak peek of something else. So that's pretty cool. So that's the idea. Basically, Warden with this is able to go into like any of his moves except shoulder bash. He goes into shoulder bash, which gives him a lot of really like potential offense. You don't really have to stop. You don't really have to rely on your lights all the time. Whenever you're throwing, if you throw out a heavy, you can go to shoulder bash. You can go like guard break, heavy.
이 씨발 무슨 날개를 달아 저번에 씨발 날개를 달아줬더니 이제는 무슨 완전 생각자가 됐네.
To kind of offset the fact
돌겠다
that he lost a little bit of his defensive ability from shoulder bash from back dodge.
Yeah, and a good point there is like, so why those two things? Is
너프가
like,
아니라 버프야
there's a lot of
씨발.
dead ends in the kit, as JC points out, and we're trying to like kind of shore that up and be like, okay, so if you hit a heavy or if you hit
새끼들아
a zone or
도대체
whatever,
왜?
we would like you to press another button, whatever that is. So shoulder bash is a great option for that. And then on the other side, like removing back dodge
뒤
into
어깨빵은
shoulder bash,
삭제예요?
is good
그거
because if you watch duels
다행이긴
versus a
한데.
warden who really knows
아
how to play
이러면은
his or
진짜
her
신경전
class,
진짜
it can be
오진다고요.
quite a stalling, boring fishing for
아니
shoulder
씨발
bash kind
무슨
of deal.
가뜩이나 무슨
And we're trying to say, okay, so a little worse in that scenario for
아니
Ward, but
무슨
much better
기사
in
진영들은 그거
any other kind
사기가
of normal fight
그거잖아요.
they'd see in
캔슬
duel or TV
캔슬이
game especially.
Yeah,
사기잖아.
his flow is so much better now with all these changes. He can always
아이
flow back
씨발
into whatever
개새끼들
he's doing.
이거 무슨 짓을 하는 거야?
Okay, so next up we have heavy attacks changes. There's quite a few. First, his side heavy openers have slightly flatter trajectories that makes him a little bit better in group fights. Like I was saying in 1vx, we want to improve his offensive 1vx ability. So you should be able now to do like
아이
switch
씨발
target,
그래서
side heavies,
백대시를
hit a bunch of people around you.
삭제했더니 이
You're gonna be
새끼는
better.
무슨
It also
가불기를
has
또다시
benefits in lane.
아이
So your
가불기를
warden's gonna be a bit more efficient in
무장하고
lane with
왔어.
this. They also have increased range.
가불기하고 무자
So you're
연계
able to hit
공격을
people from a little
아이
bit further away. And it promotes that aspect
알고 보니까 이
of
새끼가
defensive
개또라이
offense that we
새끼네.
have, where those attacks
이런
were only ever
개새끼가
really
씨발
used after
개또라이
the
새끼야
garbage beforehand,
이거.
so that's a big difference there. All of his heavy finishers are now 900 milliseconds. So top was 1,000. Wait, Max, go back. So yeah, so his top heavy finisher
아이
used to be 1,000
개또라이
MS, now
새끼
it's
저거.
900. But his sides were 800 and now they're 900. And the reason we did that is now we can go into the video. All of his heavy finishers are now unblockable, right? So basically, side heavy finishers are
모르겠다
unblockable
진짜.
at 900 milliseconds. So that gives him a lot of offense. You actually want to use them now in group fights, like we were saying before. So you can go like you can maybe do shoulder bash or heavy on one side of somebody, swap target, heavy on somebody else. Tag people, they just can't stay still and block whatever you do. They actually have to
우리가 하는 이제 워드는 날개를 단 워든이 아니라 이제는 완전 생명체 카즈 같은 녀석일 겁니다.
Because it forces them to do something, and when they're doing something, they're not attacking you. So that's the big idea behind that.
이거 지금 70% 이상이 지금 워든을 지금 키우려고 난리칠 거다.
So again, like defensively, you can use them to like switch target, work a little bit harder to get her damage in. It'll let her do a bit more executions.
또 콜라님 저것도 진짜.
We've been seeing that her numbers have been going really way down since the core combat update, so that should really help her out. Next up, we have dagger cancel changes. So we have a video for this. So you can now cancel the recovery of dagger cancel with a dodge at 333 milliseconds. That might seem like an odd number. The idea is that when you do this, you still don't have frame advantage in 1v1, but you can use it in 1vx scenarios, and it actually comes out faster than it was before the core combat update. Right? Before core combat update, it was coming out at 400. So now at 333, you can more comfortably do direct cancel on
피스키퍼
somebody,
이제 많이
dodge, swap target,
경계해야겠다.
and like do a bunch of like you can really see like Peacekeeper jumping back and forth between a bunch of opponents in group fights, which is interesting.
공격
But the
속도가
recovery time,
그나마
if you
빨랐어.
don't cancel with a dodge, is unchanged, right? So we still want to keep that frame disadvantage in 1v1 because with some of the changes that are coming up that we'll see afterwards. We were like we didn't want to become a bit too strong in those types of areas. So next up we have heavy finishers. So heavy finishers are not unblockable when you are locked onto an opponent that's bleeding. So we can see a video of this, where we see Peacekeeper landing dagger cancel and then going through heavy finishers, right? So with those heavy finishers being unblockable, and like those heavy finishers become so strong and so scary. Because out of heavy finisher, she can dagger cancel, she can dodge, she can guard break, she can let it rip, she can feint, she can do everything. Basically, she has every single option out of her heavy finisher.
야 이제 피스키퍼도 안 피스키퍼 그거 됐다. 오르치처럼 그 광고를 해가지고 그거 심리전 걸게 하려고 이렇게 해줬네. 이건 그나마 잘했다.
Leads to more bleed.
와 잘했다 이거. 야 피스키퍼 이제 많이 떡상하겠다.
So it kind of snowballs in that way. So that's really interesting for her. It gives her a bit more external pressure as well. So that's pretty good.
I think you still get your combo hit.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah, you still get deep gouge, right? So if you let it rip, you go deep gouge, and you can go light.
어허, 싹두가 지금 포인트 사용하면 안 돼.
Absolutely everything leads to bleed. So that's pretty good. Next up, we have zone
이게
attack.
마지막 방송이 될지도 모른다고.
That's been a bit of a contentious issue. So now zone attack is enhanced like other zone attacks, and it also gives a heavy parry when it's parried, like
점점 켄세이가 슬퍼지는 이유.
except for the bash ones. Now we have another thing too. The second hit is unblockable when you're locked onto a bleeding opponent. So similarly to our heavy finishers, you can go when your opponent is bleeding, you can do zone attack, and then the second hit.
그리고
is unblockable. You can
공주님께
do
지금
mix-up,
소식을
which
전하셨는지
brings
모르겠지만
us to the rest
저는
of these changes.
이번
We now
거를
feint the second hit with the
마지막으로
normal feint timing.
이번 방송을 마지막으로
This
할
was done
고
partially
조금
because
이걸
it makes it a
방송하고
bit more in line
유튜브를
with
조금
stuff. It
접을
makes the
예정이에요.
mix-up work a little bit better.
잠시 동안
But also
접으려고요.
because if your opponent was bleeding, you would flicker unblockable. It looked really bad. So that was really like a difficult issue with that. So now I also saw feints that
제가 이제 영상 편집자로 이제 일하게 된 계기가 돼가지고 이제 이거를 같이 운영할 수가 없어요.
Again, that second hit cannot really be option selected, so it gives her zone attack a lot more pressure and a bit more usability in group fights. It doesn't feint as quick as it used to,
저희
but it's still like a
코프스경님하고
pretty potent tool.
같이 일하게 됐어요.
So that's pretty much it for Peacekeeper.
네.
There's one more thing I want to add. Yeah, so we have a bit of video as to what happens with zone attack being unblockable and then all the options out of it. If Max plays the other videos. Yeah, so this is, that was like soft feint to guard break. We have zone attack going into.
존어택을
Yeah, okay. So then we have.
존어택을 그걸 가불기로 만들어 버렸네.
Okay, perfect.
Wow.
Okay, that's what we get then. I was sure we had the other ones, but it doesn't matter.
근데 배때지 찌르는 거는 그거 세 번에서 두 번으로 너프됐네요.
Yeah, we love you, Max. Like, you're amazing. There's one last thing I want to add before
네,
we do the recap, because it's not in the slides.
타짜님
something that we
그거
did,
제가
a little bit
포경님
last
영상
second.
편집자로 지금 일하게 돼
We
있어요.
changed the input on her deflect, so when you're deflecting left, right, or front, to a heavy attack instead of a light. The idea being that like a lot of other characters have that. When you deflect, you do one button, and then
이번 영상을 이번 것도 이거 영상을 만들어 가지고 유튜브에 올려야 될지 말지는 저도 지금 고민하고 있거든요. 그리고 웬만해서는 저도 한 가지 일을 하고
I think it's going to be very interesting to see
뭐지?
how she
영상
performs at this
편집일도
point.
이거 쉽지 않은 거라 가지고
The game plan of get that bleed and then press your
나중에 또
advantage is much
지금
stronger than it was
사회에
before.
나가 가지고 뭔가 할 수 없는 할 수 없어 가지고 지금 뭔가 오프라인으로 해야 될 일이 해야 될 것 같아 가지고 생각해 가지고 지금 어쩔 수 없이 한 거거든요. 영상 편집일을.
Beachhead rework, and I think you know, players are pretty familiar with this map at this point, and it definitely had some sticking points on it that needed to be ironed out, and a lot of navigational changes as well.
야,
so
양마야.
people will be very happy to see these. So we can start off right away and show off the first major change. Here from the attacker's spawn, you had this single ladder
여기가
going
조금
into
길었긴
capture
했지.
zone
여기
C,
어떻게 바뀌려고?
and this was very problematic as only having a single ladder access is not ideal to access your home point. And instead of adding more ladders and stuff like that, we went ahead and we created this slope that leads into a broken portion of the wall here on the right side, and that leads you deeper into the capture zone area of capture zone C. So this gives two different options to attackers coming in from spawn of how to approach their home point.
제가 영상 만들면서 그거 있었잖아요. 맵에 대한 그거 문제점들
and here,
이런 게 있었잖아요.
also on capture zone C.
여기 여기 넓혀놨다. 여기 넓혀놨다.
Kind of overlooking the rest of the map.
여기 맵들 보면은 이게 우와.
space.
이게
And so
뭐야?
what we did is we connected it to the other side of the map, which was previously non-playable gameplay space. And I think this really helps open up the map a lot more and gives you far more options in how to approach the enemy team's capture zone and how to just navigate the map entirely.
Yeah, it should definitely help with the map rotation in the for beachhead.
야 이제 굳이 내려가지 않고 그냥 이렇게 일어났으니까 여기서 또 싸우라는 뜻이겠네.
Right next to that bridge, we had these drop downs. It was actually a double drop down to get from capture point C to mid lane. And You know, it
자, 이제 어떻게
allowed a lot
변했을까요?
of drop attacks,
사다리는
and
여기에서 여기로
it was
바뀌었고,
problematic in that sense, and it
그리고
didn't allow
위로
you to
올라갈 수
go
있는
back
여기
up
그
through
다리가
it.
설치돼
So
있죠.
we added a
because their hero
staircase,
opponent was
이제
which now
여기
connects
여기로 올라갈 수
uh,
있는 두
Capture
가지
Zone C
길이
directly
the
to
roof
mid
At the
lane,
top of the
and allowing you to go
추가가 됐고.
back and forth between
I
them
let yourself
freely
burn yourself
without
there.
necessarily
Alright.
having to worry from drop
okay.
attacks unexpectedly
now going to heavy
along the
No
almost the
population.
entire
Mm.
side of that
Insanely
area. And this ladder
dots run
here, we
heavy.
also
It catches
positioned
rolls
it
really, really
for
well.
more comfortable
Typically,
access
yeah,
to
it
reach
attacks
the
you from
higher
the side.
point of
That's it
Capture
for
Zone C.
Shigoki. So what do you think, Stefan?
So I think that'll change a
He's
lot
not
of
going to be hopeless for the other side.
it will become a
So-
lot more dynamic.
Kind of.
in the middle.
And
Yeah,
this
okay.
area here that you see, this was the
Alright,
opposite
yeah, so that's
side
it for the
facing Capture Zone C, which is again, it was
자,
unplayable space.
존 씨, 그
And
방어자
what we did was we
입장에서는 어떻게
completely
변했을까요?
opened that up now to player navigation. As you can see, that ladder there
불길을
now gives
불길을
attackers
없애고 사다리를
access to this
높였고,
area
그리고
if they go to the left-hand
그리고
side.
이렇게 됐네요.
And it will connect them to both the
오.
bridge, which we just added, and moving on to Capture Zone A. So I think that again opens up the map a lot. Here we see Griffin, using that ladder now. He just spawned, and he's going directly to Capture Zone A now. So this was something that the attacker team couldn't do before, and we opened up that tunnel as well. And yeah, I think it'll be very, very interesting.
Speedy
Nice.
old man.
근데
Griffins.
이래도 이거 방어 진영이 꽤 유리할 것 같은데?
Yeah.
Gotta move quickly.
Yeah.
우리가 갈 수 있는 게
So,
너무
are there
멀어.
any other changes to capture point A on Beachhead?
Yes.
이게
Well,
제가
now that you
여기
mention
맵에
it,
대한 불만인 게
we did make a
뭐냐면은
few
각
changes to
진영
Capture Zone A.
그
And
방어자하고
you'll see
공격
that
진영이
it's a
거기
lot
들어갈
less
수 있는
spiky in there now.
거기 가까운 곳이
So I
너무
think
차이가 난다는
this was
거지.
something.
So these are variations of this one. And so, correct me if I'm wrong here. When we talk about the cross-factional type of armor and FCC, it's just arrangement. I'll just first. I'll first. For every player, you really want to stay true to their own lines. Yeah, it's very obviously the collection of different customization for the zero. I mean, we're looking at such right. It's really awesome. You can really choose which one calls out the most. So totally fine. Very nice. You're forced to agree with For sure. Must be a beer, you know? It would be much less. It's nothing to say. Actually, I started when I was 16. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these are sick. I will tell you, Tensei main now. Top of the show, we had 7 mentioned that Tensei's a good transition character for this one. With this customization, I gotta go out there and try to go for this. Unreal.
오, 씨.
Now let's take a look at that. Is it Party Shy? I don't know if we're
진짜 아이고.
Beautiful. Unreal. That blue one.
It's not unicorn, but it's okay.
All right, okay, so we're heading right into it now. We're taking a look at the other armor sets, or variations that I should say, for the other characters for Year 4, Season 4 Mayhem, for those of you who are joining us a little bit later. So, what can you tell us about the theme for this year?
컨트롤 C, 컨트롤 V.
Well, this isn't armor variation. Warriors are ready for the grand
Oh, shit,
battle.
저게 뭐예요?
We'll put the most badass armors and we'll jump into the battlefield. It's as important as the skill in the
저거
battlefield. The aesthetic is also very important.
로고는 저거 어떻게 하는 건데, 저거?
Give a statement.
오사기,
Exactly.
컨트롤 V.
You're doing
저거 뭐예요?
That's one of the badass ones that you can
쟤는 그냥 어쩌죠?
put from the Year 4.
뭐 뭔가.
That's the last variation
흑기사
of
됐어.
Year 4, and then make sure to show off.
여기 영화 속에 흑기사 같은데?
Podiums, or if you might lose, but then you lose the battle, but then you can lose with a good style.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're basically not losing at that point.
No, actually, there's moral wins. I don't care what anybody says. I think
흑기사
that's
아니 쌍라인이야.
Yeah, with a good style.
Look at the Kensei. Beautiful.
The bird mask.
Yeah, very nice. And we're going to get into a little bit more of the birds later on with Yuri talking about the battle pass. So again, we're taking a look at the full armor collection here, variations that are available starting December 10th for Honors of Mayhem season, the conclusion of Year 4, Year of Reckoning.
I was thinking a while for about that bird.
계속 컨트롤 C, 컨트롤 V.
The Griffin, huh?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Sorry, it's a lion bird.
You're exploiting things right now.
Well, listen, I'm good at that, so no problem. What are you laughing at, Yuri? Let's take it back a little bit.
우리 15기 어떻게 된 건가요?
That's awesome.
I love the straw hat for the Bushi as well. It's okay.
Now we're moving on to Viking.
Believe so.
자, 바이킹입니다.
Raider.
Nice pants.
Also very
오이씨,
simple.
이거 문지르는 거요. 아, 백조노정 만들었네.
Clean. Berserker. That's the line on.
All getting ready for the
다섯
battle.
번은 살짝 멋지다.
100%. The old one.
Oh,
That is one strong looking.
이런 사람들은 그냥 진짜 바이킹처럼 생겼다. 이제 바이킹처럼 생겼네. 쟤는 컨트롤 C, 컨트롤 V고 바이킹.
Unreal.
오로지 한 마리 없다. 오로지 한 마리 없습니다. 아니, 뭐?
Well, I believe so.
and we have Ling.
Yes, that's
Yeah, we have the Wu Bin. Jeez, forgot about the Wu Bin.
Come on.
그린 진영. 그린 진영.
I like the purple hue. It's
the
purple.
color.
It's purple.
And yeah,
컨트롤 C, 컨트롤 V. 컨트롤 C, 컨트롤 V.
is in the zone.
컨트롤 C, 컨트롤 V.
And Lucia and JJ.
JJ just ready to go. You can just tell.
Right. You're in series.
저거는 뭔가 좀 만든 거
You're
같네.
a huge fan of Leopard Print, I can tell.
And finally,
진짜 뭐야 이거?
Zato with the
Oh, that's a scary ass mask.
저거 뭐 어떻게 뭐란 거야 이거?
Unreal.
Nice.
So I think we have one last surprise when it
Yeah,
comes to
I think so.
customization. At least I think.
of course.
Potentially. I think. And I think Larissa might really enjoy it. For one reason or another.
Well,
So
we
let's take a
teased it a bit in the Griffin trailer as well. Actually.
Yes, that's true.
Hype.
So there's the full collection of the armor variations for, again, Year 4 Season 4 Mayhem, which starts December 10th. Now we go into the surprise.
Let me introduce our beloved character with the not too crazy smile, Clarissa's main.
샤몬의
Shaman.
새로운 암호입니다.
Well, basically, we have a
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to ask and set you up. What did you guys
샤몬이
talk
이제
about
노르웨이로 떠날 준비를 하나
for
보네요.
the shaman?
좀 더 동그랗게 입고
Well,
가야
yes, Clarissa, we have a new design of Shaman in this season, and she looks. I'd like to get the feedback.
Well, I love her hair because that's one thing. Because a lot of shaman's customizations
너무
have a lot
야만이긴
of
하네요.
shaved sides or
거의
just,
야만이네.
like, different sorts of shaved heads and such. Oh yeah, braids too. And what's really cool, at least with the now with the full hair with no shave, is I'm sure players who aren't really a fan of the shaved sides or whatever. I mean, I personally love the shave sides. I keep saying shave a lot, but I don't know how else to describe it.
I mean, we gave that's the thing. We tried to give a different taste of it.
저게 뭐야?
Actually, to
정신이야?
go back to the whole year 4, year 1
정신이야?
characters that we released is they have a specific role for scouting for the narrative wise. As I discussed with Elise for the narrative today, it's to unite each faction to the group up and to fight back the Oracles. We need someone from each faction to deliver the message. For Knight, it was Centurion. For Samurai, it was Aramusha. And for Viking, of course, it's Shaman, which is the best for the communication. But for the point, like, the Shaman is individual, as Clarissa said it, so for the most of the armor, but this time we toned down a little bit on the wild side and provided a bit more calmer armor design. So most materials is still the leather, but we added fur at the trim, so the design gets a bit cleaner. And of course, she still has enough elements to remind her character as a Shaman.
Excellent.
I mean, I never actually used this character because my fighting style never fits as an assassin, but now with this look, maybe I'm willing to change my fight style.
It's very clean. Unreal. So that leads us in, and that does it for the armor variations as well, the new set for the shaman for Year 4 Season 4.
Well,
and now we're heading to the battle pass, obviously a new one for this season. So Yuri, I think we're going to come to you last. I just realized that we're going to go into the weapons from the pass first. So yeah, exactly. Let's talk about the battle pass, and obviously we're looking at something that's very unique and Griffin-esque, if I should say, for the battle pass. What can you tell us about these weapons in particular in the collection that players will have the chance to purchase if they would like?
If you want to jump in anytime, just let me know. That's what I Well, basically for this battle pass weapon, there were 3 themes of this weapon sets, which are the Renaissance, Invention, and the Revenge. I mean, throughout the season 15, we witnessed the Resistance try to fight back the Holocaust, which is a Warlord's army. If you have followed all the events that was going on from the season 15, it will be a bit more clearer. The Resistance tried to use a forged weapon to fight back, but it was still not enough. I don't know if you guys remember, but Ilma, the blacksmith, brings the final weapon. She will bring the final weapon this season to fight back the Holocaust. And the aesthetic design was kind of inspired by the culture that was known as a Neo-Victorian, which we know more as with the steampunk. Neo-Victorian, which is inspired by the steampunk aesthetically, and has so many new elements such as the gears and the fine patterns that shows its age, which is Renaissance.
So it's a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, it's a little bit of like a development, if I can say it that way, in terms of the way that they're forging weapons now.
Yes.
It's like almost like a new methodology that allows them to have this new look and maybe more effective weapons. If you can say it that way.
Well, it's
Well,
still the
not
same
actually, but you know what I mean. Like
because it
like,
doesn't have the mechanism.
yeah, exactly.
We wanted to kind of aesthetically, visually explain to the player that okay, something new has been arrived, and then we are creating something different. So again, to be clear, the weapon set does not have the mechanism of steampunk, but it's to convey the idea that's a new attempt that which was brought from the knowledge of Griffin and the skills of Ilma, the blacksmith.
뭔가 좀
These were created by helping.
무신시한 방망이가
That's how we created
그나마
these weapons.
방망이 근사다.
And to get a bit more detail, like for the materials, we use the copper and the minor gold for decoration or engraving, and darker letters with the rusted metal. So that was also used, and also added some silver and ivory to bring some contrast in design. And we tried to balance between industrial roughness and the Victorian elegant style. So at the end, the result kind of comes out as that has both a beauty and a beast.
I love it. It should be the title of a movie or something at some point.
Beast and beauty.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
I mean, for the color theme, I think to have a good combination, mixing the weapons from the Prince of Persia event from season 13 would be nicely matched, and I would recommend that.
I like that. Some fashion tips from the fashion guru himself, Mr. Andrew. Honestly, I find these so beautiful, and again, I say this literally every live stream, but I can't like be more amazed at the fact that every time there's something new, there's just a new flavor. You know, sometimes it's not necessarily what I would pick, but it's still an option for those who might be interested in it. So it's really awesome to have all these different types of options as a player to be able to customize.
Great to hear.
난 준수하게 잘 뽑은 것 같네요.
So I think we're going to head into the overview of the full collection as we normally do, so that you guys can take a look. I again going to remind for those of you who are joining a little bit late to the party, you're listening to the Year 4 Season 4 reveal stream For Honor. Mayhem starts next week, December 10th. And we're just taking a look at the Battle Pass weapons again. That's going to be available starting December 10th at the launch of the season. So this is the collection, steampunk themed, Renaissance, you have it, you name it, you got it. So, Andrew, Yuri, we're going to finish off with the final elements of the Battle Pass, which are the, there's outfits, there's ornaments. Yuri, what can you tell us more about the other elements of the Battle Pass?
So it's my turn to talk. I'm so excited for that. So Year 4, Season 4 Battle Pass. So we have basically what we've been talking about this entire stream, Griffin, with the neo-Victorian elements that are sprinkled in. So a lot of the outfits and effects that we're going to have in the pass are going to be involving those two elements. So we're going to see, for example, the battle outfit that's going to have a lot of unique shapes that are going to evoke sort of the unison of the factions coming together. We have the ornaments that are going to basically be shaped almost as if they're gears that are going to be placed on your characters. So that's also very interesting. We have the signature, which is going to be of the basically a blacksmith. So you get to see your character doing the blacksmith actions that you've seen all year. We have an execution that's going to be basically you throwing a bomb towards your enemy, or a bomb. I would say more like just a device that's been created in a very unique fashion to be in theme with our season. And then we have as well the effect, which is something very, very different that we haven't done before, which is going to be Griffin. You're basically going to be wearing Griffin. So you have the head of an eagle that shows up during your idle stance, and then during emotes and your executions, you're actually going to have wings that are going to sprout out, which, everybody loves wings. So yeah, everything's going to be nestled in together. So this is actually the first time that we managed to get wings and a head, aside from a glacier one that we've done a while back that, it's an older one. This is a much cooler version. But what's fun about this also is that we've done two versions of...
We'll be right back. 아이씨, 답정너, 이씨. 이놈의 답정너.
All right, well, we spoke about Griffin, but now it's time to talk about the new testing grounds phase. So Stefan is back, but now...
야, 이 답정너들 진짜, 씨. 야, 이 미친놈들아. 이 미친놈들 이거. 이 새끼들 이거 안 보여줬다고 해가지고 그거 이 새끼 그거 안 보여줬다고 하면서 이거 딱 돌아가 버렸어.
Okay, so Nobushi used to be a super strong character at the top of the meta. We nerfed a bunch of her timings. That kind of hurt her CCU, her damage ended up at the board or slightly below for kind of the thing. So ends up not being meta at all. Basically, what we want to do is try to make some of our mix-ups start to work. Some of our timings start to be a little more beneficial towards her, so that she can really compete for, can she take Kensei's job as, chief laner or group fighter.
정신 차리세요. 정신 바짝 차리라고. 니들 전부 다 정신 차려. 니들이 망하면은 우리가 줄 수 있는 건 꽃다발이 아니라 총알이야. 납탄을 보낼 수도 있어 진짜.
A bit better flow and a bit like it's not so stamina intensive to cancel your attacks and all these things. It gives her a bit more utility.
잘 망했어. 그리고 죽어. 이러고 끝이니까.
Far more now, which is pretty interesting. Next up, we have heavy finishers. So Max, we have a video for this. So basically now her heavy finishers and the heavy attacks from hidden stance are now undodgeable, right?
뭐지?
So this means that in a lot of the cases where you could go into kick, for example, you can go hidden stance to kick, or you can go like kicking your chains or whatever. You now have an actual proper mix with those undodgeable heavies rather. So that's really, really strong. It gives her much better 1v1 potential. So that's pretty much the idea behind that. It also helps in group fights. People that try to dodge like excessively around you, you can self-tag them, so that's pretty good. Next up, we have zone attack. Zone attack. We also have a couple of videos for these, but so zone attack. The second hit of zone attack was kind of really underwhelming. There was no real reason to use it most of the time. You would feint it like pretty much all the time. So now that second hit can actually soft feint into a bunch of different options. It can soft feint into kick. It can soft feint into dodge. And it can also soft feint into her heavy finishers, right? So you have the utility of using it in a 1v1 where you have a mix-up with kick and undodgeable. You can use it in group fights as just dodging into somebody else. You can do a lot of different things, so that's really interesting with her. It makes her a lot more viable in the lane and in group fights and in 1v1 as well, so that's pretty interesting.
Heavy finisher
네, 구대기 애들이 좀 변화해가지고 좋긴 좋았어요. 얘는 진짜 할만해. 조금 할만해지고 있어요 지금.
From one side, just blocking that side and side dodge or whatever, so that's pretty good. We also adjusted her stamina cost. So it used to be 40 stamina for the first hit and then nothing for the second. Now it's 20 for the first hit, 20 for the second. We'll see how this goes. It might be a little bit strong, but we'll see where we end up with this.
This is why it's part of the testing grounds, correct?
Exactly, right? That's the interesting thing. We can actually test this out without breaking it. Pretty good. And then the feint for the second hit now costs 10 stamina. It used to cost nothing. There was a bit of some inconsistency there, so that we're trying to just make it a lot more consistent, more predictable, so that in the way that it works. Next up, we have Cobra Strike. So Cobra Strike now also changed the heavy finisher. That makes it so basically what used to happen with Nobushi is you would land a Cobra Strike, right? So dodge for light or side dodge light, and then your opponent would literally just roll away from you every single time, and there was nothing you could do. It was absolutely impossible to catch them up. So with this now going to heavy finisher, your opponent actually has to stay in place, because if they try to run away, you can do your heavy finishers and tag them, which is pretty strong. It's really useful in the fact that when you're fighting against a Nobushi, you actually have to respect her when she does whatever option she does now. So that's actually pretty useful for her. And then last but not least, I think, we have Sidewinder. So Sidewinder, we have a video for this. Sidewinder also now changed to heavy finishers. So similarly to Cobra Strike, you could roll away from every option she has. So now you can just go to heavy finisher and tag people. It also creates an actual good mix-up with her kick, because she can go Sidewinder
또 한 번 하실.
So with this way, you can go
항공을 한 번 더 할 수 있게 했네.
kick or heavy finisher if you're in a 1v1. Have a little bit of a mix-up afterwards, or make sure at least that your opponent is going to stay in place. And the other thing we did to Sidewinder is that the chain timing options to all of her chains used to be at a static 500 milliseconds after the attack. So now what we did is you can chain a little bit earlier at 400 milliseconds, and you can also delay them up to 5. What this does is it gives her more utility in the lane. One of the problems that she had in the lane is that because her timings were so strict and so late, she had a hard time fighting off and contesting the lane, or defending the lane against other characters like Conqueror, for example, or Kensei. They have like much better ways of controlling the lane. So with this, she should be able to come back into the lane and control it a lot more to make her much more viable in the lane. So that's it for Nobushi. Stefan, what do you expect is going to end up happening with Nobushi?
I think it's going to be very interesting. She's got much more ability to lane and be safe in the lane, as you said. she's got some ability to actually make her mix-ups work and threaten, you know, normal 1v1 or small group fight situation. So that's going to be interesting. You can't just straight up roll every time you see her go into hidden stance or after some of her other attacks. So there's going to be entire pieces of her kit that she never used that she will now attempt to use. So I think that's going to be great. Will she threaten for a Kensei spot? Will she go up to like JJ level? Where will she end up? We'll see. But as you said, she's got friends now with shamans all over the board. PKs
근데
being thought
확실히
about at this point.
아쉬운 게 하나 있어요.
The
얘한테
synergies
슈아가
there.
없다는 거.
All right, and then
얘한테
the
슈아가
last
없다는
character
게
we're
조금
gonna be
아쉽네요.
looking at, who's
어우,
the guy
드디어
dreaming
슈고키다.
about being every night.
야, 프로디지 깨워!
Shigoki.
프로디지!
So we're
프로디지
changing
갓!
some things.
데려와! 프로디지 데려오라고! 당장
Shigoki
데려와!
is a strange character. Not super effective in Dominion or high-level play, mostly. Crushing newer players and weaker players because that's what it does. So right now we're going to try to bring down frustration for full population dual and Dominion type stuff. And at the same time,
어떻게 바뀌었는지 좀 영상으로 보여드리는데 이걸 안 볼 수가 없지. 프로디지 어디 갔어? 이 슈고 기업배 이거 어디 갔어 이거? 어디 갔어 이거?
I don't know, an Orochi or whatever, and you don't have a melee, and you're eating super armored lights, hyper armored lights, uninterruptible stance lights. Pick your turn.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So let's look at what moves we're changing on Shigoki. So we're doing tweaks to his light attacks, to Demon Embrace, and we're giving him 2 new options. We're giving him a forward dodge attack and also a side dodge attack. So let's start up with light attacks. We have a little video for this. So his light attacks are no longer armored. They're still enhanced. They still have the rest of the properties. But as you can see in this video, he respects the core combat update advantage rolls. It also makes it so that you have to be a bit like you have to be a little more smart.
이럴 줄 알았다.
Just not mash lights constantly and be able to trade all the time. We're expecting
Finally,
a lot less frustrating.
finally,
it really
like
he suffers from it a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. He's still able to.
아니 무슨 얘
next up we have Demon
얘라도
Embrace.
뭐
So Demon
슈아가
Embrace,
있어야지 뭔가 공격할 타입 그거
we
있어야지 무슨
completely remove the armor from it. So you can see here like the warrior
잡기 이것도
into it.
이것도
Part of the reason
이거
for that is
없어졌어요.
that it's. If I remember correctly from the data that we have seen, that move is the single highest
이거
landing move
없어지면
in the entire game. The data seem to show something like
그러면
above
어떻게
80% like hit rate with it, which is incredibly high. A big part of that is because it's armored, and then you could.
아니 이 새끼들 왜 좋아하냐고 이걸 왜 이거 좋아하냐고 얘가 이거 없으면 시체라고 이거.
Back into it, and then you would still trade, it would still hit you, and it was super frustrating for a lot of players. So we removed it entirely. So now you can still use it as a ganking tool. You're external, you do heavy into Demon's Embrace. You can still gank with it, still good. But it's not as strong as it used to be in 1v1. So you can't really rely on it as much. It'll still land, but it won't be like as powerful as it was. Another thing we did is also we lowered the recovery to 1500 milliseconds. It used to be 2000. And on top of that, you regain the ability to block at 1200 in this. So the mismatch there a little bit is so that we don't want people to use Demon's Embrace non-stop, like we see sometimes some Shigoki players doing. So the recovery is still a bit high, but being able to block at 1200 makes it so that beforehand you had players that could roll away and then do a dodge for a heavy and still tag you, or be out of stamina, forward step heavy and still tag you out of it. With this, you'll be at least able to block
도대체
whatever you do.
슈고 캐릭터 무슨
So
악감정인가
you're a bit more
무슨
safe when you use it, but you can't just spam.
왜 슈아를 왜 없애는데?
Yeah, you get punished, but you won't be like insanely punished or extra punished or double punished in the case of armor into
이거 좀
hit in the recovery a second time.
Yeah, that's it. So next up we have new attacks. So
무슨
has a dodge for it heavy. We have a little video
아니
for
무슨
this.
뭐 잡기 해가지고
So
뭐
dodge for it heavy basically uses
뭐야,
what we
이거?
had as a sprint attack animation. It's not armored like sprint is. It's literally just a dodge for it heavy. It catches rolls really well. Typically from what we've seen, you can use it on reaction to somebody rolling and still catch them. That it's really strong. We know there's a little known issue right now in the testing grounds that's going to be fixed when the character releases. It still do that, which is it doesn't execute right now.
슈아가 없으니까 쓰레기에.
So just keep that in mind. It's a little bug that we're going to fix.
Put it in your surveys.
Yeah, put it in your surveys. That's going to be good. We're going to make sure we don't forget it. The thing too is that it acts as a
생겨
change starter,
원이
right? So
슈어가
you can
없으니까
dodge
이거
heavy into
쓰레기구만
heavy
그냥.
finishers and have a lot of pressure out of that. That's pretty strong. And then Shigoki's final change is he now has side dodge bashes. Basically, he uses his headbutt. So you can go into whenever somebody like attacks you can do side dodge headbutt. It gives him an actual option against to deal against bashes, especially the fast acting bashes. Like if you look at
옆으로 박치기.
or Lawbringer, for example,
또 옆으로 박치기.
you won't be able to dodge out of it if you predict it. So it makes him a little bit easier to punish bashes. It also goes into his finishers. It acts as a chain starter. Basically, it's headbutt that you use in chains, but use it on a side dodge. It still does 37 of damage, all that stuff. So it's pretty strong. It's really, really useful. It's good. So
근데
that you can't really just roll away afterwards either. You can just do
차지강 할 때는 슈아는
So
남겨뒀네요.
it gives them a really, really powerful option to deal against bashes.
그래도 슈거키는
But
뒤졌어.
that doesn't really guarantee damage. So it's pretty interesting.
하지만 슈거키는 뒤졌습니다.
So that's it for Shigoki. So what do you think is going to end up going on with Shigoki?
Well, I think for sure it's going to be less frustrating for full pop players like that late.
슈거키를 살려라의 그래도 슈아는 남겨둬야 될 거 아니야.
I think on the other side we're going to see way less polarizing matchups.
왜?
Shigoki versus Conk or BP or whatever, something along those lines is not going to be completely hopeless for the Shigoki. And then same on the other side, Shigoki versus someone who doesn't have access to a move like that is not going to be hopeless for the other side. So I'm really hoping to see Shigoki not have, dominant or dominated by matches and more like kind of in the middle. This is in the middle, trust me. I got a small scale there.
This is the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, yeah, so that's it for the character tree we have in the testing grounds. So Mike?
Yes, first of all, that was awesome.